Hey guys, it's Ben with Ben's Appliances. Today we have a Whirlpool top load washing machine, and I want to show you how to check if the unit is either not filling with water at all, or you have a valve that is leaking into your tub. It starts filling in a weird way. Let's go over about 2 or 3 different ways that you can check the system to see why water wouldn't be coming in the tub, or if it's leaking, how to replace the valves. Often the valves are the problem. We do have the valves on our website. There are 2 or 3 different kinds of coils for these sort of Whirlpool systems. And if you end up needing those, use the links in the description. It will help the channel out to make more videos on Whirlpools and other washing machines. So let's get to some of these easy free tips before we go in and replace the valves.
First, let's check the water supply going to the machine. Were they on in the first place? If you believe they are and you're still not getting water, let's turn them off and test them. Take a slip-jawed wrench and with the valves off, unscrew the washer hoses from the back of your washing machine. And once you have the hoses off, turn the water valves back onto the wall and confirm that water flows from both the hot and cold sides of the hoses. If not, the washer hookups at the wall are problematic and you need a plumber, not an appliance YouTuber, unless something got stuck in the hoses themselves, which is very rare. Next, at the back of the machine, let's check the valve inlets for your washing machine. You want to look for obstructions. Oftentimes, you need to remove these covers for a better look. Usually, you can take a pair of needle nose pliers and pull these covers out. I'll be honest though, the covers on this particular machine are locked into place so badly I cannot get them off. I ended up having to resort to using a dental pick to pull them out. With the covers now out, what do you see on them? Oftentimes, debris can get stuck onto the covers, causing clogs and jams on the valves. These covers themselves could be washed to remove the debris, but in some cases, the covers could be so bad they would need replaced. I will have a link in the description on how to just buy the covers for these machines as they are essentially universal. If the covers were not clogged, you can look inside the valve assembly. Is there any dirt or debris that could have bypassed these filters and got stuck in the solenoids? Or was there a filter in the assembly in the first place? If the area is very clogged, the media could be removed, but sometimes the blockage could have damaged the solenoids and the assembly still needs replaced, but at least we've inspected these systems and tried to do some easy free solutions. For the next step, we're going to have to inspect and remove the valves entirely. And to do that on a Whirlpool washing machine like this, we need to remove the 2 screws at the top of the washing machine on the back side. There are 2 screws at the top, which are T20 or 1/4 inch combo screws. You can use either style to remove them. Once you have them moved, the console needs opened up. If you have an extremely thin plastic preferred putty knife, you can use it in the corner of each side here, but often most putty knives are too thick or too wide. My suggestion here is to use an unused rewards card or Blockbuster registration card to press in and pop the assembly for the hidden clip inside. In the case of the machine, I tried this with a Sam's Club card and it didn't work too well, so I need to try some other tricks to open up the clip. Another strategy you can use is to open the lid and take a screwdriver or slip-jawed wrench and press it into the clip from the underside of the washer chassis. This is not easy to see, but it's not very hard to do and feel around to find this clip. I wasn't able to get the clip detached doing this method on camera, but I was able to press the clip in and loosen it up quite a bit during this part of filming. For reference, here's a similar unit with the lid up and the console moved to understand exactly where this clip is that you're going to feel around and find to try to press in to pop the lid of the unit. After pressing the clip in from the other side on both ends, it loosened them up so much that I was able to try the gift card trick again, and it worked very well with just a little bit more pressure. Once the clips were popped, you can rock the interface slightly to make sure that both sides are dislodged, but I will tell you, if you cannot get the interface clips popped regardless, the brute force way would be to open up the washer lid and then get them from underneath with a lot more pressure. I do have videos on how to take the washer top to this style off. I'm not going to do it in this video because it is not fun. It does take a while and would be best for a separate video. With the interface dislodged though, you can just roll it forward and expose the valve and board assembly. At this stage, if you wanted to, you could make sure the washing machine's unplugged and do a resistance test on the valve coils. Some metal is exposed on these valves, at least in this configuration, and you can use a multimeter and set it to ohms resistance to test the coils. Set your meter to 200 to 2000 ohms, or if it's a variable ohm setting, In self-ranging, press the leads in to test. Some valves may vary on what is good resistance, but I would say the key here is that if one solenoid is bad, the range would be far different than the other two coils on this machine. But in all cases, the three coil packs returned 1K ohms each, which is generally a good range for most washer valves from Whirlpool or Maytag. Roughly between 800 and 1200 ohms is correct. Now, for advanced testing, you could switch this system and have it plugged in and try to run the machine on diagnostics or just a load of close and see if you get 120 volts being thrown to the coils using an AC voltage test. If you did that and forced the unit to try to signal the valves and didn't see 120 volts to the solenoid, then possibly the board or pressure hose are going to be the issue, and you would have to do further diagnosis on those units, but it's rather rare. The next step we're going to approach is to simply remove and replace the valves. To do this, there are two screws on the water valve and then also the harness. Both screws are 1/4 inch, and the one near the camera is really easy and straightforward to get to, but the one on the other side away from the camera is quite difficult to remove. So we're going to remove the far side wire harness assembly first and then get to the screw. If you have any issues removing the wire harness from the coils, I would suggest using a flat bladed screwdriver or needle nose pliers to help press the harness out of place. Next, pull the harness out. Next, go ahead and unscrew it. And then finally, pull the assembly out. The rubber grommets underneath the valves could make this step a little bit difficult to pry the valves out, but as long as you have the two screws off, that's all there is to it. Hard water deposits on the assembly could make this again difficult. With the valves out, there are two styles that are sold on the market, and this is a key. One style, which we have here, has 3 solenoids and others have 4 solenoids. Make sure you know which one you need because they are physically different, and the solenoids are those green packs you see that the wire harnesses connect to, but otherwise they're identical. Next, your new valve is not going to have a harness on it that is a separate component, so you need to undo the old harness and place it on the new unit. Note that there is a thermistor wire underneath the valve assembly that needs taken out as well, and it has a small pressure connector that will allow you to remove that Molex. It's pretty straightforward to see both on camera and in person. Here's the new valve with the harness installed on it with the new valve covers that look a lot better than the OEM ones we had on the old unit. A word of caution though, don't install the rightmost harness because remember, a screw is going to hide underneath it when we reinstall the valve. Going back to installing the valve, simply press it to fit into place where the rubber grommets go, then reinstall the 2 screws. Then plug the harness back into the control board. Remember that there was that thermistor plug underneath that I hope you connected already. Otherwise, you may have to pull it out and put that in again. Once the valve is in and everything is installed, before you put the interface back in, you may want to run and test the washer just to guarantee that it works. I usually run it this way just to verify that it works because if it doesn't, I would note the control board voltage output or the pressure hose are the most likely culprits of other failures that are very infrequent. However, in the case of this unit, everything was actually fine with the valves. They were clogged but not entirely destroying the machine, so we went ahead and closed the book on this fix. I hope the video helps you out to explain how the water valves work on a Whirlpool washer. And again, if you need either style valve, I'm going to have a link in the description for both styles. Have a great day.